baseball. And welcome to Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado. Sunshine Network happy to welcome you to Game 2 of this 3-game series between the expansion clubs. It's another beautiful evening for baseball, and we're happy to have you with us. Hello again, everybody. Jay Randolph along with Gary Carter. Well, the big news, of course, is Sheffield will start at third base in the All-Star game for the National League.
Well, he's hit in every ball game since he's come over to the Marlins, and well-deserved. He flirted with the Triple Crown last year, has 12 home runs, 42 RBIs, hitting over 300 for the Marlins, and he is one happy camper that he's going to be a starter for the All-Stars.
And for Colorado, it seems to be a 100% sure thing that Galarraga will be on the All-Star team from here.
Well, he's hitting .399 and has 12 home runs, 63 RBIs. I mean, just falling under 400 for the first time in some time. But Andres Galarraga is a great player, and he will represent the Colorado Rockies very well.
Some other possibilities, of course. Chris Hammond pitching tonight, going for his 9th in a row with a win tonight. He may get the call. And it is Hammond this evening going up against Shepard, and that sets the scene.
Major League Baseball on Sunshine Network, live from Mile High Stadium, is brought to you by
a crowd of between 45 and 50,000 expected here. The Colorado Rockies going over the 2.5 million mark in last night's game. The umpires this evening, it will be Winters behind the plate. Hirschbeck is at first, Frumming at second, and Ed Montague at third. And another beautiful day here in Denver, Colorado. 87 degrees. The humidity's only 26%. Light winds out of the south and clouding up a little bit, but a lovely evening here. The dimensions of this ballpark: it is 333 down the left field line, 366 to the power alley in left, and 423 to center field, 400 to the power alley in right, and 370 down the line in right field. Tonight's starting lineup brought to you by United Airlines. Come fly the friendly skies. Cotto leading off, Renteria, Sheffield, Destrade bats fourth, Conine, Santiago, Whitmore, Weiss, and Hammond. And defensively for the Rockies, Clark, Jones, and Bichette in the outfield. Hayes, Castilla, Benavides at second base tonight. Galarraga at first. Schaefer's doing the catching, and Keith Shepard is on the mound. And for Keith Shepard, is his first start. He has a record of 1-3 and a 5.17 ERA, one save. Shepard is from Wabash, Indiana. 6'2", 200 pounds. Signed by the Rockies in the second round as the 50th pick overall in the expansion draft last September. Pawing at that mound out there, trying to get things the way he wants it.
Basically a fastball slider type pitcher, not overpowering by any means, and has been used mostly in relief. So look for not a whole lot from this young man. He does have a changeup that he throws, but he is the kind of guy that is used mostly in middle relief, and that's why the prime 2 pitches fastball slider.
It is his 11th appearance of the year and his first major league start. There's Don Baylor and Don Zimmer to the right of him, and the Latchmans being blocked out now by a couple of the bat boys. Marcel on the right with the glasses, and Rene sitting to the left of him as we get another good look at Shepard. Keith has made 10 relief appearances since his June 1 promotion to the major leagues and posted a 1-3 mark. Did not allow a run through his first 6 appearances. And as Paul Kennedy mentioned on the pregame show, this is the 11th starter for the Rockies this season. Recap the All-Star rundown of the starters for you. It will be Bonds in left. Van Slyke is injured. They will name someone tomorrow to take his place. David Justice in right. Sheffield at third. Larkiel and Sandberg Larkin beating out Ozzie Smith. And then Kruk is at first. Darren Dalton will do the catching. And tomorrow the pitchers and reserves. There's Gary Sheffield and our starting pitcher right alongside. Henry Cotto is on a 2-game hitting streak. He has gone 5 for 10 in his last 2 games. Batting .364 over the last week and .348 on the year. 3 RBIs and a home run. Cotto, who led off here with a home run to left last night, set to face Keith Shepard. The Marlins 10 games below 500 tonight as we get underway. And the first pitch on the inside corner. The Marlins have scored in the first inning in 11 of their last 15 games. They've been getting up on top early. Cotto fouls this one away. 0-2.
This is also the young man Keith Shepard that was involved in that confrontation with the Dodgers where he hit Corey Snyder with a pitch and both benches emptied and he was fined and then suspended. He's also had a bout with strep throat, so he's had a tough time as of late. So this is a big outing for him tonight.
It really is. He's had a lot of tough luck and a rather checkered career. When he pitched at Reno, he was on their suspended list in 1990. And he first came into Major League Baseball in '86. At Philadelphia last year, he was 1-1. One ball and 2 strikes to Cotto. Sun shining brightly now, although some big clouds are puffed up to the south of the city.
The cumulus nimbus.
Yeah, they're out there tonight. Another foul. Cotto down the left side. And the 1-2 pitch. Another one down the left side. It is fair. And a long and fine throw by Charlie Hayes. Boy, what a dandy play by Hayes to rob Cotto of a hit.
He plays third base a lot better than what people give him credit for. This ball down the line that he backhands, and watch him just set himself enough just to make the strong enough throw on to Galarraga to nip Cotto just by a step. And really, Charlie Hayes does play a very surprising good third base, and there's times that he is not given the kind of credit he deserves.
Rich Renteria, the secret weapon, standing in, batting .302. High and tight to Renteria, who of course was beamed in Atlanta, had to sit out a couple of days, hitting .317 in his last 37 games. Renteria rips it to left. The 1-out single by Rich Renteria. And here it is.
It was nice to hear from Charlie Huff talk about Rich Renteria in such a positive way and what he's meant to this ball club and all the great things he's done and his support for all the other guys on the team. But what a job he's done in a reserve role and now filling in for Brett Barbary.
Sheffield with an 11-game hitting streak. He's hit in 22 of his last 26 and hit .370 over that span. .302 the average, and that's low. Danny Schaefer behind the plate. Marlins batting .253 as a team, have hit 46 home runs. Low for ball 2. Sheffield looking down to third base coach Cookie Rojas. And a double play ball, maybe. Let's see if they can turn it. Yep. The double play, the 77th of the season for Colorado. Well, as we get set to go to the bottom of the first inning, scoreless here. Tonight's starting lineup brought to you by United Airlines. Come fly the friendly skies. Benavides leading off tonight, and Jones in the number 2 slot. Bichette, Galarraga, Hayes, Clark, Castilla, Schaefer, and Shepard. The Marlins defensively with Conine, Cotto, and Whitmore. On the infield, it's Sheffield, Weiss, Renteria, and Destrade. Santiago catches Chris Hammond. Hammond tonight in search of his 9th in a row. 10-4 and a 3.71 ERA. This young man has really blossomed under Marcel Latchman. Won 8 straight and 10 of his last 11. That 8-game winning streak tied with Steve Avery and Tommy Green, the longest streak in the National League this season. Benavides standing in. Cuts on the first one, it's foul.
And we talked about this too, Jay, at his last start, about his success with not allowing the home run ball, which was a big problem for him early on in the year, and his strikeouts to base on balls ratio much better. He was walking too many guys early, and I think his biggest asset has been keeping the ball down.
In the atmosphere that he's had with the Marlins and working with Marcel Latchman, he has seemed much more focused, much more mature. Benavides hits it into center field. And the play made out there by Henry Cotto. One gone.
I think the other thing is too is the experience and knowing that he's going to go out there every 5th day. I mean, that's a nice confident feeling, which he wasn't getting when he was pitching for Cincinnati. Now coming over here to the Marlins, he knows he's going to go out there every 5th day and get the ball.
Chris Jones batting in the number 2 spot. 325 in his last 11 games, and he went 1 for 2 here last night. He pinch hit in the 7th and then stayed in the game. Got a big single for them. Jones is 27 years old, from New York State. He was a non-roster invitee to training camp. Split time between Houston and Tucson last year. Came to the Rockies in the expansion draft. 1 ball and 1 strike. Crowd still coming in here on another magnificent evening in the high country. Sheffield coming across, makes the play in time.
The one thing that Don Baylor has said as of late is that he's going to try and find a spot for Chris Jones. Look at how he hustles on this ball down the line. And Sheffield with a good play. But Don Baylor says if he's not going to play center, he'll play left or right or what have you. But he wants to get him in the lineup because he wants to play the game hard.
Dante Bichette batting .320. Hits it on the ground. Out to Walt Weiss. And the Rockies go 1, 2, 3. We'll be back right after this from Gatorade. Nothing shaking for either side in the early going. Prior to each Sunday home game, one lucky Marlin fan has the opportunity to grab the cash in the Nations Bank $10,000 cash scramble at Joe Robbie Stadium. Stop by Nations Bank for details on how you can participate in the $10,000 cash scramble. Orestes Destrade batting .253, 7 home runs, 42 RBIs. Hit only 148 over the last week. He is 2 for 29 this season against the Rockies.
And is only 1 for 19 on this current road trip. He has really struggled.
This afternoon, San Diego 2-0 over New York. Guess who lost that game?
Let me guess. How about 26 in a row, Anthony Young?
That's right.
Yeah.
And he pitched a 5-hitter. With the help of Innes, who came in the ninth.
At one time, he retired 23 in a row.
Was he snake bit? Huh?
I'll say.
San Diego wins it 2-0 over the Mets. 2 balls and 1 strike to Destrade.
The only hit in that game by the Mets was by Jeff Kent, a single with 1 out in the second. Otherwise, they were shut out the rest of the way.
A high chop. And the ball is bobbled at first base, and Destrade, is he all right? He fell as he went over the bag. He was really hustling down there. It took a long time for that ball to come down to Shepard, and then his little toss was mishandled by Galarraga.
I'm not sure if it was him tripping over the bag as he was jumping for it, or whether or not it was Galarraga's foot that he sort of tripped over. Looks like it's Galarraga's foot. Yep. And that's surprising for Galarraga to miss that ball. This ball not too bad. Really, that should be an error on Andres Galarraga.
That's what they've ruled. No, they've ruled the error on the pitcher.
That ball was right to Galarraga.
Oh, boy.
How can you give it to the pitcher?
Well, that's what he did.
That ball was right there. I just think it surprised Andres a little bit. I mean, look at this.
The throw.
It's a little low,
okay,
but it's up in the air. It didn't hit in the dirt.
Well, if you're scoring, the official scoring here at Mile High Stadium has given the error to the pitcher, and Estrada trying to shake it off down there.
Well, Galarraga has been a Gold Glove winner at one time. He does have 9 errors on the year. I'm wondering if maybe the Rocky official scorer is trying to protect him a little bit. What do you think?
Well, they're not in Chicago.
Oh, that's right.
Where they take good care of Ryan Sandberg. Here is Jeff Conine. Conine batting .286. Destrade there at first. Jeff batting .333 in his last 9 games. 15 RBIs in his last 14 games. One ball and no strikes. And that's high to Conine. 2-0. San Francisco's playing at Montreal. Montreal leads it 1-0 there in the 6th inning.
I think there was a lot of frustration in last night's ball game, though. Jeff Conine had an opportunity with bases loaded to drive in at least the tying run. The Rockies had scored 2 in the bottom half of the 7th and put them ahead in the game at that point, 4-3. And it's unfortunate that the Marlins came up empty then in that 8th inning, and then the Rockies went on to score 4 more in the bottom of the 8th and ended up winning the game 8-3. But a couple of blown opportunities, and I know Jeff Conine was a little bit upset with himself that he didn't come through there. So let's see what he can do in tonight's ball game.
He hits one deep to left, and it is gone.
That's how you do it.
Jeff Conine ripped that one into the left field stands, and Orestes Destrade will score in front of him. Conine picks up RBIs number 39 and 40. That is his 6th round tripper.
Well, errors and walks will always kill you. The run in front of Destrade scores, and Conine drills this over the left field wall here at Mile High to give the Marlins a 2-0 lead.
And Benito Santiago is thrown out. Play going 5-3.
You know, I'm just wondering, Jay, that as we see Conine's swing on this ball again, and that'll take out any kind of frustration when you hit a ball like that on the sweet part of the bat. But I'm just wondering, with the sun going down here at Mile High, that maybe Galarraga might have not seen that ball, and the same thing with Charlie Hayes on that ball from Santiago, kind of lost it maybe up there in the pillars or something.
Could be. Whitmore's batting 190. The rookie takes a strike on the outside corner. Whitmore's got a 3-game hitting streak going. He hit 200 over the last week. And this will play for Castilla. Galarraga scooped it out.
Well, it seems though that Vinny Castilla has really found his niche now at shortstop, even with that ball a little bit low. Freddie Benavides came back very quickly after arthroscopic surgery on his knee and then went back on the disabled list again, but he's playing at second base tonight, and they're giving Eric Young a rest, as well as Alex Cole in center field.
Walt Weiss broke out of the slump last night, had 2 hits. Batted only 136 over the last week. He's 281 on the year, 21 RBIs and a home run. 2 balls and no strikes to WW. And Schaefer going out to talk to his hurler. Conine. A very happy Jeff Conine. The gentleman to the right there, the man we call Lesarge, our physical trainer. He does a great job.
Oh, he does. And him, I went and worked out in Atlanta the other day with him, and he'll work with anybody if he gets the chance to. Just a great conditioning coach.
I need to get him working with me if he wants a real challenge.
Okay, I'll tell him about it.
Tell him about that.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll say you've got yourself one major challenge involved.
Nick Slade, he does a great job. 3 balls and 1 strike. 3-2. Keith Shepard on the hill tonight. His first major league start. Foul outside of first. The Marlins now have hit 30 home runs in the last 38 games. That was number 30 in the last 38 just a few moments ago by Conine. Another high chopper and a rather bad bounce, but it's handled by Benavides, the second baseman. The Marlins have the lead. We'll return after this from Great Western Bank. Sunshine Network with live coverage of the Marlins from Colorado tonight. United Airlines and Sunshine want to put you and a friend in the air to see the Marlins on the road. 6 lucky people receive a round-trip ticket, 2 courtesy of United Airlines, and you send your name, address, telephone number to this address on the screen. Tune in to the Marlins telecast August the 11th. See if you'll be flying the friendly skies of United to see the Marlins play. Hope you'll enter real soon. Here's Galarraga. I always like to see him batting with nobody on base. He's hitting .399. He has dropped below the 400 mark for the first time since the 4th of June.
Bummer. Still hitting .399.
Only one man in the 400 range right now in Major League Baseball, Mr. Olerud. On the ground, Walt Weiss throws on, and 4 in a row now for Chris Hammond. Talking with Walt Weiss, he's telling me that his knee was feeling much better. I saw him in the training room this afternoon getting some treatment, and he says getting better every day. Had some fluid develop on that knee in Atlanta. Charlie Hayes is batting .310. Has a 4-game hitting streak going and has hit .386 in the last 20 games. This gets through on the right side. First hit given up by Chris Hammond. Well, Hayes extends that streak to 5 games.
Well, the one thing that Don Baylor has tried to emphasize to these guys is not to become so pull conscious, especially in this ballpark. And Charlie Hayes twice last night went to the opposite field, and once again right here by Renteria on into right field.
Gerald Clark is hitting .340 in his last 15 games. Hey, these fellows have been putting up some numbers recently, and that's why they are 13-13 in their last 26. Right at Whitmore. 2 gone. Los Angeles is playing at Philadelphia, and the Phillies lead at 2-1. They're in the 4th inning. It's Martinez against Mulholland. Pittsburgh and Houston are underway. No score after an inning. Wakefield against Portugal. And Atlanta playing at St. Louis. Maddox against McGrain. Atlanta did not score in their half of the first. Vinny Castilla. This is one of the bright young stars of the future, I think, for these Colorado Rockies. This fellow plays a good shortstop. He's batting .306. He's at .361 in his last 10 games, and he leads the National League in triples with 6. Runner at first and 2 out. 1 strike to count. This is high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Detroit beat Minnesota 8-4 this afternoon. The winning pitcher Gullickson, the loser Deshays. Home runs by Fielder and Trammell for Detroit. Kirby Puckett hit one for Minnesota. 8-4 Detroit over Minnesota. Long one down the line in right, and a long run for Whitmore. He can't get to it. It hits in foul ground. Texas and Milwaukee today. Milwaukee won at 7-6. Milwaukee came up with a run in the bottom of the 8th to gain that win. Oakland defeated Cleveland 3-0. Lefferts got the win in that Milwaukee triumph. Joe Baber the winner for Oakland today in the 3-0 shutout of Cleveland. Seattle defeated New York 6-5. 2-2 the count, 2 out. Castilla at the plate. And it's high, 3-2.
How about this for an interesting note on Vinny Castilla? He's had 6 triples, 5 home runs, and 18 RBIs. They've all come right here. None of them on the road. Does not have a home run or an RBI on the road.
Likes the home cooking.
I'd say so. Who wouldn't like this ballpark?
Payoff pitch coming. Lofted into left. Conine is right there, and that'll do it. The Rockies strand a runner. We have played 2, and the Marlins lead it 2-0. Florida Marlins baseball live from Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado. Sunshine Network. Florida leading it 2-0. A couple of other scores. Boston and California this afternoon. It was California 7-6. Linton was the winner in that one. Chicago's playing at Toronto, and Toronto leads at 2-1. They're in the 4th inning. Baltimore at Kansas City. They're scoreless in the 2nd. It brings you up to date on the baseball to this point in the proceedings. And here it is 2-0. The 2-run home run by Jeff Conine. Estrada scoring in front of Conine. Hammond will step in to lead it off here in the 3rd inning. Chris is batting .220, has a couple of RBIs, hit a home run. Talking with Charlie Huff today about this ballpark and the condition of the ballpark. The playing field has improved somewhat. Here's the shot to the right side. Hammond, a leadoff single. Charlie was saying, and Gary, I think you were there at the time, that the field is in a little better shape than it was when we were here, of course, earlier when they had the problem with the brown patch and all the trouble with some kind of fungus. There it is.
Yeah, a little bit, but watch when it hits the outfield grass. It just flat out dies.
Yeah, that grass out there is very slow. Charlie did tell us that this infield, although the grass is rather high, the infield is very hard. There is Mr. Huff, who had a tough loss here last night. Henry Cotto grounded out in the first. Swing and a miss.
I really didn't think that there was any grass that was higher than Wrigley Field.
Well, I'm not sure that this is higher. I can tell you that, and maybe our camera crew can get a good shot of it, right in front of the mound. It's pretty messed up there. There's a lot of patches, and it's not what you would call in very good condition out there. You can see the difference in the color, and they had to patch in a big patch of infield grass out in the shortstop area. There you can get a little better idea of some of the problems.
I'd say they could use a little bit more sod there, don't you?
Yeah. Strike on the inside corner. They had some very bad weather here early on, and also, as I say, they had some problems with the fungus that hit this field, and just before this series, I'm told that they did replace all of the infield dirt, but this field is very hard, especially the skin portion of the infield. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Cotto. Marlins leading it 2-0. Henry Cotto back now in the National League, and doing a nice job filling in for Chuck Carr, who is on the 15-day disabled list. That's high. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Cotto.
And Dave Dombrowski had said that Carl Everett is only going to be here until Chuck Carr comes back. He was slated to go to Edmonton. So as soon as Chuck Carr comes off the disabled list, Carl Everett would be demoted, and then Henry Cotto would be the first guy off the bench, along with Briley.
That's high. Full count. Keith Shepard walked off the mound. There's Carl Everett. He can fly.
Well, he's the future of the Marlins. And Dave Dombrowski had said he just wanted him to get a taste of the big leagues. And there's nothing like it. And I'm sure Carl will work that much harder to want to stay here for good when he finally comes back again.
And here is one down the line in left. And is it long enough? Yes. Henry Cotto, his second home run in 2 nights. And it is 4-0. Florida Marlins. Whoa, did he hit that? On a line to left. Gary, he hit it on such a line that I wasn't sure it was high enough to get over the wall there.
You got to love this ballpark, though, the way that just kind of took off. And really a great swing by Henry Cotto, who hit a home run in last night's game and hit another one here tonight. And I think as soon as he hit it, he knew he hit it well, but it was just a matter if it was high enough. And sure enough, and it now gives the Marlins a 4-0 lead.
And ball 1 to Renteria, who singled in the first inning. Fouled away.
The thing that I like about Henry Cotto is that he really doesn't try to overswing. He's very relaxed at the plate, and he was saying earlier about his situation as a platoon player for so many years, and now getting an opportunity to play a little bit more often, and he's showing what he can do.
Renteria lines out to Castilla. Hit it hard, but right at the shortstop. Sheffield hit into a double play. It's Ruffin in the Rocky bullpen.
He was once one of the Rockies starters earlier in the year and been relegated to the bullpen now.
Sheffield swings and misses. Sheffield, of course, who has been with the Brewers, the Padres, and now the Marlins in the span of 2 seasons. Henry Cotto being congratulated. Marlins lead at 4-4-0. The Rockies 0-1-1. 1 ball and 1 strike to Gary Sheffield. Marlins are 12th in batting coming into tonight's game in the National League, 7th in pitching, 9th in fielding. Outside. Yep, he called it a strike. I'm umpiring again.
Yeah, you better stop it. They'll hear you. They'll fine you.
Colorado is 4th in hitting in the league, last in pitching, and last in fielding.
Well, let's let the folks at home think what it is.
Up the middle. Sheffield now has hit in 12 straight since coming over from San Diego. Sheffield at first, 1 out, and Orestes Destrade.
And Sheffield fought off a couple of pitches, and then this one he didn't hit on the sweet part of the bat, but hit it hard enough up the middle to find its way for a base hit.
That infield is hard.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it took off.
Larry Barnhart, the pitching coach, is out talking to Shepard. Although Destrade's been in a bit of a slump, he does have a statistic that looks pretty good. 17 RBIs in his last 26 games. He reached on the error in the 2nd inning and later scored on that home run by Jeff Conine. If you're just joining us, 2 2-run home runs. Here's Destrade down the right side. Sheffield holding on.
It's going to be interesting to see how long Don Baylor stays with Keith Shepard. Seems like the Marlins are keying in on him pretty well. Destrade finally hits one really hard here against Keith Shepard, and it's nice to see him get his stroke back on this swing. Sheffield had ideas of going to third, but Bichette got it in pretty quickly.
Yeah, Bichette has a pretty good arm, and here is Conine with another one to left, and it is back and off the wall, and coming home is Sheffield. Destrade goes to third. It's a double for Conine, and the Marlins lead it 5-0.
And these fans are starting to boo Keith Shepard. Yeah, he's gone now. Conine first pitch hitting and a slider out over the plate. And if it just had a little bit more height, that one would have been out of here. And Gerald Clark plays it off the fence very well. Sheffield scores easily. Destrade to third, and Conine standing there on second with a double.
That's going to be all for Keith Shepard. We'll return to Mile High Stadium right after these messages. Colorado, where the Marlins are having some fun at the expense of the Colorado Rockies tonight. And Keith Shepard has pitched 2 1/3 innings. He has already been charged with 5 runs, 7 hits, and the fellows on base belong to him. Here is Bruce Ruffin, 3-4 on the year. And Ruffin, who returned to the bullpen duty on Monday night, working 1 2/3 inning versus Chicago, allowed a walk and 2 strikeouts. He has appeared in 18 games. He was a starter in 12 of those games. On 7 hits for the Marlins. Destrade is at third and Conine at second. Sheffield and Cotto.
Well, with the thing with Bruce Ruffin now that the Marlins have to realize is this guy has always had control problems. He can be wild at times. If you just don't swing at his first pitch and let each guy work the count, they'll have a heyday against Bruce Ruffin. The infield is played way in. They've got to try and cut down these runs at the plate. And Santiago has been struggling as of late, hitting only 179, 7 for 39 in his last 2 weeks.
First pitch is outside to Benny.
Ruffin has a sinker, slider, and change, and he really relies on his sinker to get a lot of ground balls.
Inside, 2 balls and no strikes. Now they're going to put him on.
Yep,
they sure are.
So maybe that was the first 2 pitches was the old unintentional, and then when he fell behind, thinking that maybe Santiago might be trying to swing, Don Baylor elects to walk him, and now that loads him up for Darrell Whitmore.
Whitmore, who had that RBI triple in his first major league at bat versus Montreal off Ken Hill on the 25th of June, has hit in 6 of his last 8. He grounded out short to first back in the 2nd inning. Bases loaded. Marlins leading 5-0. Darrell was leading the PCL with 24 doubles and 97 hits when he was recalled. High from Ruffin. The runners, Estrade, Conine, Santiago. That's low, and a good stop by Danny Schaefer.
And this is what Bruce Ruffin has a tendency to do, is tries to overthrow, and the balls have gone, I mean, all over the place at times, and right there that one was very low. When he gets the ball up, his ball will straighten out, but that's 6 straight balls now from Bruce Ruffin.
Swing and a miss. Ruffin is from Texas, born in Lubbock, to high school in El Paso, went to college at the University of Texas, signed on with the Rockies last December after being granted free agency in November. 2 balls and 1 strike. 3-1. Whitmore looks down to Cookie Rojas. Larry Barnhart, the pitching coach, in a little bit of anguish right now for the Rockies.
Well, I think this is going to be a big at bat for Darrell Whitmore. You know, he hasn't really sparkled since coming up. He's had his times, but this would really be a big plus for him right here in this at bat.
Well, he hits it out there to second, and then they're going to turn the double play. It went 4-6-3. Marlins have a 5-0 advantage. The Marlins leading 5-0. Portions of tonight's game are brought to you by Gillette Sensor and the new Gillette Series. Gillette, the best a man can get. With Gary Carter, Paul Kennedy, all of our Sunshine crew, Jay Randolph here in Denver, Colorado tonight. Chris Hammond going back to work.
Well, it's pretty nice to start off the bottom of the 3rd inning and how already be staked to a 5-run lead. Could be 7 as easily, but I think that is a nice little cushion to try and get your 9th straight victory.
Danny Schaefer standing in high for a ball. Schaefer had 5 RBIs on the 28th of June in the game against Cincinnati. Schaefer hits one deep to left, and this could be gone. It is. Schaefer has just banged his 2nd home run and picked up his 13th RBI. Talking about the fact that Hammond had cut way down on the home runs that he'd given up. That, though, is his 12th now. And Ruffin, standing in, is 0 for 17 at the plate this year. Fouls it off. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, I think what Chris Hammond was trying to do was get ahead Danny Schaefer, the 8th place hitter, and only had 82 at bats coming into this season in the major leagues. So here's a guy that's really been kind of unproven, has really found a home here in Colorado.
The throw in time from Sheffield, who had to wait for that high bounder. Take a look at this home run from Danny Schaefer. He's done an excellent job for them here. He's taking over the catching duties.
For the injured Joe Girardi, who had a bone extracted from his left hand, the hook and the hamate bone, but Schaefer gets all of this one. And I must say it, Jay. I wasn't going to, but I got to say it. This place is a bandbox.
You're just thinking about how much you would have enjoyed playing here. I know that every time you walk in this place. Benavidez flied to center in the 1st inning.
Well, Jeff Conine, who had played here in past years when he played for Omaha in the Royals organization, he said he loved to hit here.
Well, and you heard Chris Hammond on the pregame show say he doesn't like to pitch here. He did have 1 good game here in the minor leagues, but I doubt that there are many pitchers who will tell you they enjoy pitching here. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Benavidez.
Oh, look at that Colorado Rocky team ERA. That'll tell you right there. Last in the league, 5.93 coming into tonight's game. That's going to probably go over 6.
Now, being a new ballpark, of course, in 2 years here, as this is popped up to the right side, Whitmore out there makes the catch. We came over to the ballpark this afternoon and came by the area where they already have the cranes up and are beginning to work on the area in the railroad yards that will be the new stadium. It'll seat 45,000, and it will be built by the same people who built and designed Camden Yards, the site of this year's All-Star game in Baltimore.
There it is, out there.
Just beyond that area, there's some warehouses there, and it's going to be a really lovely facility. This is Jones, who grounded out back in the 1st.
I guess that Camden Yards, that feeling in that ballpark is really special because people have talked about it. Now, when the Olympics happen in Atlanta in '96, they're going to build another stadium there and replace the old one, and it's going to be somewhat of the same style as Camden Yards.
Well, when you walk into Camden Yards, you get the feeling that you're in an old-fashioned ballpark, yet they have all the amenities, and it's really quite a sight. I had the pleasure of being there for a game last summer, and right now we watch Jones leg out an infield single. And you can see that ball doesn't roll very fast on that grass when you've got it down. It does bounce high off this hard infield. Jones, who has hit in 6 different spots in Don Baylor's lineup this year with the infield single.
Yeah, but once Sheffield got to the ball, he knew he had no chance, so he just picked it up barehanded and flipped it back to Hammond.
Dante Bichette. He grounded out in the 1st. Leads the National League in doubles with 25. Has hit .379 in his last 34 games. Bichette here at Mile High Stadium, hitting .401 coming into tonight's game. These fellas obviously like to play here. They haven't had near the success on the road, and
calling a balk.
A balk is called, and trotting down to second goes Chris Jones.
That's Chris Hammond's 5th balk on the year, and Hammy does a little something different where he just doesn't come to a complete stop. And if you see when he comes to the set position, see, he goes real quickly, and that's when they called it.
1 ball and no strikes. Popped up, and I mean up. It's going to come down eventually. Whew. And handled by Sheffield. That'll do it. The Marlins lead 5-1. Mile High Stadium in Denver, Sunshine Network bringing you the live coverage of the Marlins, and this recap brought to you by your local Sherwin-Williams paint store. The pros know. Ask Sherwin-Williams. Conine's 2 for 2 with a 2-run home run, and Cotto had the 2-run homer also, and Walt Rice will lead it off here in the 4th. Walt, of course, a member of the '89 world champion Oakland A's. Rice grounded out back in the 2nd inning. Two balls and no strikes. Walt has reached base in 61 of 78 games. Two balls and 1 strike. Right back to the pitcher. Ruffin throws on. Rockies with the win last night here have taken a 4-3 edge in the season series. Tomorrow, an afternoon game here that will start at 3:05 Mountain Time. We'll be on the air in Florida at 4:30 with the pregame show with Paul Kennedy. Pat Rapp, his '93 debut up from Edmonton, will go against Kurt Leskanik. Hammond singled and scored in the 3rd. 2 balls and no strikes to Chris. And that's 3-0.
Well, like I said, Jay, you just have to be patient with this guy, and eventually he'll throw one right in your happy zone.
Well, he has walked Hammond, and that is a no-no. Let's see if it costs him. Henry Cotto has grounded out. Hit the 2-run homer in the 3rd, homered in the 1st inning here last night. The Marlins now with 31 home runs in their last 38 games. 5-7-0 for the Marlins, 1-3-1 for the Rockies. Don Baylor, manager of the Rockies, fine baseball man. Strike to Cotto.
Talking about homers, he hit a few in his career.
You bet he did, and he got hit by a few baseballs in his career too, didn't he?
A ton. He's got the major league record. He hit 338 lifetime home runs, but does have that record of being hit by pitches 243 times.
Boy. Swings and misses. 0-2. Cotto, while he was over with Seattle, became their career leader in pinch hits with 38. Misses inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I have to correct myself.
That's all right.
I meant to say 267 times. A little bit more. He broke the National League record that was held at one time by Ron Hunt. He had 243.
Okay.
So there you have it. 267.
Inside, 2-2. Ruffin in relief of Keith Shepard, who went 2 1/3, gave up 5 runs on 7 hits. A shot to the right side, and Cotto is 2 for 3. And Hammond legging it on to third. Looked out at first. They tried to cut down Cotto there, but he got back. Hammond's down at third. Cotto is at first with his second hit. And Renteria with an opportunity to do some damage. Made a Pinson there talking to Henry Cotto.
Well, Bichette does a good job of getting over to this ball, and when he threw it to Castilla, Henry Cotto had a very wide turn, and then the ball was just a bit wide, and Galarraga was able to keep it from being another error. But now runners at the corners.
Renteria singled in the first and lined to short in the third. The secret weapon. It's low. Renteria's average at .305 as he stands in there. Two balls and no strikes. That caught the outside corner. 2-1. Ruffin used to pitch for Philadelphia. And the runner goes, and he is in there. Cotto with a stolen base, his fourth.
Cotto sized Ruffin up, and you'll see him get a running start. It was amazing. He just was watching how he was going about his delivery to home plate. And look at, he just starts walking off, and then right here he takes off. Look at that. He didn't even think about going over there. He was in there very easily.
So runners now at second and third. 2-2 the count to Renteria, the infield in. They asked for the appeal at first base. Hirschbeck says no, he didn't go around. It's 3-2.
Renteria does a good job of checking his swing, and I got to believe he did.
Struck him out. Good pitch in tight. That is the first strikeout for Ruffin. It's a big one. And now it's up to Sheffield. Sheffield hit into a double play in the first, singled and scored in the third.
Well, it turns out to be a good pitch for Ruffin, but it was a ball, and Renteria just mad at himself as he hit the barrel of the bat. Just upset at himself for swinging at it.
Sheffield. Fly ball into center. Chris Jones is out there. He'll make the play. The Marlins strand a pair. Florida lead it 5-1. Before we move into the bottom of the fourth with the Marlins up by a score of 5-1, reminder, don't miss the excitement of the Arby's Pop Fly contest prior to each Wednesday home game at Joe Robbie Stadium. A lucky fan will have the chance to catch pop flies to win those delicious Arby's prizes for a selected stadium section. Chris Hammond and the Marlins fortunate that for the second time in this game, Galarraga will come to the plate with nobody on. As he leads off here in the fourth, he led off in the second inning and grounded out.
Well, I just hope for Chris Hammond's sake and the rest of the Marlins that those two run scoring opportunities don't come back and haunt them.
The big cat. He's hit in 21 straight games here at Mile High. This one deep into center field. Cotto going back, and it is off the wall. Cotto picks it up. Galarraga digging for third. He is there. And they come to their feet. They love him here.
I tell you what, when Andres Galarraga first hit this ball, he thought it was gone. He just kind of took off very easily, and then when the ball hit off of the wall right there at the base and comes back towards the infield, then that's when Galarraga picked up the speed and got into third base. But watch him start coasting. See, he thinks he's got that.
It's his third triple of the season. Charlie Hayes singled in the second inning. He just fouled this one off. 1 strike. Gary, you talked about some missed opportunities. Even though the Marlins are leading at 5-1, you get the feeling here you never have enough.
Oh, you never have enough. The double play ball by Darrell Whitmore to end the third inning, and then of course the strikeout to Renteria and the fly ball by Sheffield. I mean, when you've got runners at third base, especially with less than 2 outs, you got to try and get them guys in.
That's outside.
And I'm not saying that they're not trying.
Oh, no.
It's just going to happen once in a while that you can't come through. But when you miss those kind of opportunities, especially in this ballpark, it has a tendency to come back and haunt you.
And last night there were a couple of missed opportunities.
Yep.
Here's one down the line in left, and it is foul.
Charlie Hayes was out in front of that pitch. He was on his front foot and hit it to the wall, foul in left field. Let's tell you how the ball flies here. Watch this. He is way out and just kind of flicks the bat. And that hit the wall, foul in left field.
And a count of 2-2 to Charlie Hayes. Charlie used to be with the Phillies and the Yankees. Inside, full count.
Even Charlie Huff said that the ball is a little bit more juiced up this year.
Yeah, he really believes that the ball has got a little more bounce to it in this 1993 season. And Mr. Huff would know probably as good as anybody. He's held enough of them, thrown enough of them, and seen enough of them go. I liked his line when you and I were talking with him. He said, even I watched Galarraga's home run last night.
Yeah, he said, I even had to turn around and take a peek.
I had to watch that one.
Because he knew he had hit it a long way.
And he goes around, and a foul tip that is held by Santiago, the strikeout. That is the first strikeout for Hammond.
Hammond, this is his bread and butter pitch. I mean, that's his change, and he throws it extremely well. Why? Because he's got great arm motion with it. And our computer, a 71-mile-an-hour changeup that breaks down about 6 inches, and Charlie Hayes way out in front of it.
This is fouled out of play by Clark, who flied out to right field. Our supervision computer from Sportsite folks, hope you enjoy that special feature that we bring your way from time to time. Out it goes to Weiss. Galarraga will come home with the second run for Colorado. Clark is out 6-3. RBI number 24 on the year.
Well, I'm sure this is all Charlie Hayes wanted to do. The infield was playing back, conceding the run, and Clark just makes contact, gets the RBI, but that's the second out for the Rockies.
5-2 the Marlin lead. Castilla flied to left in the second inning. off the end of the bat. Castilla had 5 RBIs on June the 23rd. Both he and Schaefer have had 5 RBI games for the Marlins in this '93 inaugural year. This is into right, and Whitmore is going, and it's off the wall. And does he have another triple? Let's see. No, he's going to stop at second. Castilla with a double to right.
Castilla hits this one well, but for some reason, I can understand why these guys have their big nights here in this ballpark. Castilla with that 5 RBI night. I know that Schaefer here at the plate coming up had his big night here against Cincinnati. Boy, I'll tell you what, this park is something else. I'd have loved to have played here a full season.
I know you would.
In my prime.
That's the 5th double of the year for Castilla to go with those 6 triples that he has. And here is Schaefer, who homered in the 3rd. Strike to Schaefer. 5-8-0 for the Florida Marlins and 2-5-1 for the Rockies. Offense continuing to dominate here. Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Marlins will head home after the afternoon game tomorrow for a series with Atlanta at Joe Robbie Stadium. And the Rockies will head into St. Louis, a city that is surrounded by water these days. Tremendous flooding in the Mississippi and the Missouri in and around the St. Louis area. 2 balls and 1 strike. Fly ball into center. Cotto backing up. He makes the play. And after 4 here at Mile High Stadium, the Marlins lead it 5-2. Florida has the 3-run advantage, and the out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by Gatorade for that deep down body thirst. San Diego over New York. Cincinnati beats Chicago. San Francisco and Montreal. Well, we will check that score for you. Philadelphia 4-3 in the 6th inning. Pittsburgh 2-0 over Houston in the 4th. Atlanta leads St. Louis 1-0 in the 4th inning. The American League, Detroit beat Minnesota. Milwaukee over Texas, and Oakland over Cleveland. Also a final, Seattle over New York and California over Boston. Orestes Destrade at the plate. Fouls it off down the right side. The Big O has reached on an error and scored in the 2nd. He singled and was stranded at 3rd in the 3rd inning. We move into the 5th here at Mile High Stadium. 5-2, the Marlins. 1 ball and 1 strike. On the inside corner, 1-2. We were talking about Joe Girardi, the Colorado catcher. He had surgery last week, as Gary told you. He is currently rehabbing. Going to be out at least a month, Gary.
Yeah, it's going to be a while before he comes back. It's surprising how quickly Dave Hollins came back from the Philadelphia Phillies with a similar injury.
And the appeal at first base, and Destrade is getting some heat now from the plate umpire for flipping his bat. Second strikeout for Ruffin.
Well, Destrade usually makes this look pretty good, but a lot of the time when you check your swing, especially in that manner, and the bat breaks the plane of the plate, a lot of the time he's going to be called on it, and Hirschbeck called him out.
Conine is thrown out by the shortstop, Castilla. Quickly, they're 2 down for Santiago. Conine 2 for 3, the 2-run homer in the second and the double in the third.
Castillo with a real easy play to nail Conine, and now it's up to Santiago.
Benny is grounded out and was intentionally passed in the third inning. Down the right side. Santiago on the run, trying to stretch it into a double, and he's there. Benny with that good speed of his. Gary, you were talking today about he's not blessed with a big body. He's so wiry, and it's amazing the speed that he has for a catcher and his ability, and he works hard on a play like this.
Yeah, and he really doesn't have any knee problems either. Hopefully he never will. But this ball almost gets by Bichette, and by the time he was able to gather himself and then the strong throw into second base, Santiago was diving in safely. So really a good hustle on Santiago's part.
13th double of the season for Benny. Here is Whitmore. Strike on the outside corner. Whitmore is grounded out, and he hit into a double play that really hurt in the third inning. Joe Girardi.
See some of the tape on his left hand there. Bandage.
Working his fingers. Oh, it hit him. Whitmore getting up slowly. Larry Starr, the Marlins trainer, walking out with him. Walking with him to first base.
I don't think it hit him real flush. We'll take a look. No, it kind of just grazed off of his hand.
He was more startled than anything else.
Coming in like that. Well, I don't know how many times I have to say about Ruffin. He has a tendency to be very wild at times, and this one definitely gets away from him.
Here is Weiss. He's grounded out twice. An opportunity with 2 on and 2 out. Weiss with a chopper to short. Castillo throws on in time. The Marlins strand 2. That's 6 stranded over the last 3 innings. Marlins lead it 5-2. Marlins have the lead 5-2. Hope you're enjoying the live coverage from Mile High Stadium in Denver on Sunshine tonight. In case you missed it, Barry Bonds of San Francisco, Ken Griffey of Seattle, the league's top vote getters in the balloting 64th All-Star Game, which will be played next week, July 13th at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. And Gary Sheffield of the Marlins will be the starting third baseman. This man might be on that team, Chris Hammond, and Brian Harvey may have a shot. Ruffin standing in.
I think Brian Harvey has an excellent shot. USA Today had their picks at the halfway point of who they felt were going to be eventual winners, right?
Look at this. Ruffin sends it to the warning track, off the wall, and legging out a double. Singled and scored in the third and walked in the fourth, and now after Ruffin had grounded out, he doubles here to start the fifth.
I think that Bruce Ruffin is about as surprised as everybody else. This guy coming into the year had a lifetime average of 080. So I mean, he is not known for any kind of his hitting prowess.
This is out into center field, speared out there by Henry Cotto. Henry going to his left, making a good play. Benavides lines out to center.
And Benavides was trying to hit the ball to the right side. Cotto almost overran it, but Ruffin, with not the greatest of speed, had to hold his ground at second base.
That's Ruffin's first hit of the year. And Ruffin was 0 for 19 before that happened, or 0 for 18 before that happened. That was his 19th time at bat this season. Jones is grounded out, singled, went to second on a balk in the third inning and was stranded there. Chris Jones, his batting average up to .321.
But anyway, about those awards USA Today was picking, they were choosing Brian Harvey as the midseason Cy Young Award winner. Rookie of the Year, Mike Piazza. Manager of the Year, Dusty Baker.
And down the line, here comes Ruffin. The throw into second. A double for Chris Jones. And the Rockies battling back in this ball game. It's now 5-3.
And exactly what you said, Jay, earlier about you can never have enough runs in this ballpark especially. And Chris Jones lines one down the left field line past Sheffield. And by the time Conine got to it, Jones was sliding into second base safely. And another run for the Rockies. And now the gap has been closed to just 2 runs.
And here's Bichette, who is grounded out and popped out. For Jones, his 17th RBI of the season. This foul backing out of play. For Jones, that was his 6th double of the season a moment ago. Five 9-0 for the Marlins, 3-7-1 for the Rockies. Jones out there at second, only one out. Another foul. Manager Rene Latchman. Fans here tramping on the stands above us. Place really shakes, doesn't it?
Yeah, but they said when the Broncos play here,
oh, believe me,
this place feels like an earthquake.
Yeah, I broadcast many a game here, a Bronco game, and it is craziness. Inside. One ball and 2 strikes. Chris Hammond going for his 9th win in a row. Struggling a little bit. It's foul back.
You can tell that Dante Bichette is a very strong individual because he doesn't take a stride, especially when he gets 2 strikes. And that home run that he hit in the 8th inning last night was barely without any kind of a stride. He just kind of widens his stance a little bit, cuts it down his swing somewhat, and just kind of hits down on the pitches.
2 balls and 2 strikes. The Marlins, after 2.5 innings, led 5-0. They're in the bottom of the 5th, and it's a 5-3 game. Bichette hits one foul down the left side. It was long enough.
Well, the other thing about this ballpark, you look out here and see the dimensions, but there's a lot of real estate too. I mean, there's a lot of hits in this park.
Bichette Born in West Palm Beach, played at Palm Beach Community College. 29 years of age. 2-2 the count. Jones at second with one out. 3-2. Five extra base hits for the Colorado Rockies. Fouled away. 3-2. Galarraga on deck. These Rockies, they come at you here. Well, you don't want to put Bichette on with Galarraga coming up.
Not the way he's hit all year. Of course, you never know. Might try to pull Chris Hammond and hit into a double play ball, but boy, I'll tell you what, you just don't want to have the big cat up there with too many men on base.
This is fouled into the upper deck.
Bichette putting on one kind of an at bat right here against Chris Hammond.
Bichette began his pro career as a third baseman. Graduated from Jupiter High School.
He's a Floridian boy.
Yes, he is. Another payoff pitch coming from Chris Hammond. And he got him. Well, Hammond won the battle, and that is a big strikeout right there with Galarraga coming up.
After putting on some kind of an at bat, right here is where you get Dante Bichette down and in. Swings down on a lot of pitches, and Chris Hammond comes up victorious.
And now it's Galarraga who has grounded out, tripled and scored. This fella has become as popular as John Elway in the city of Denver. Swings and misses.
Close.
Well, that's right. In a short period of time, figured out. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In a short period of time, he has really become. I guess I shouldn't say as popular as.
No, you got to have as many good seasons as John Elway's had for the Broncos.
The Elway factor. Something. This is foul, and Hammond now out in front 0-2.
But with the Rockies being their first year, yes, he's probably the most popular Rocky in its first year.
Yeah, and what a revival he has had here with the Rockies and with Don Baylor.
Yeah, he attributes it all to Big D for all of that.
Jones out there at second, on the ground. Walt Weiss. Ooh, that ball, bad hop. He got the glove on it and made the throw in time. 5-3 Marlins. Now this from United Airlines. Florida 5, Colorado 3. Remember, the inaugural edition of the Florida Marlins official yearbook contains 140 full-color photographs, career information and stats on each player, and much more. Order your copy today. Send $8.95 to Marlins Yearbook, Box 10467, Pompano Beach, Florida 33061. Chris Hammond leads it off. Ball one to Hammond. The attendance tonight, 50,707. Two balls and no strikes to Hammond, who has singled and scored and walked. That double by Ruffin a short time ago was his first hit since 1990. He had gone 0 for 69. Of course, he doubled and later scored.
No wonder he had a big grin on his face.
Well, now he walks Hammond again.
For the second time.
Yeah.
Oh. Told you he had his problems with his control. Don Baylor's just got to be going nuts over there.
Walked the pitcher twice. You're not supposed to do that. These prices. Cotto tonight is 2 for 3. Rounded out in the first, hit his second home run in 2 nights, a 2-run shot in the third. Single and stole a base in the fourth. Cotto's average way up, 385. 1 strike to Henry. Shot, double play ball. Second double play that the Marlins have hit in, third double play I should say, that the Marlins have hit into tonight. Sheffield in the first inning, Whitmore in the third. That was a toughie. And now this one by Cotto.
It's exactly what Ruffin relies on, is the ground ball, and here his favorite friend, the double play.
Rich Renteria has singled. He's lined out to short and struck out.
Well, while we got a second, Jay, I just wanted to finish up on those awards that USA Today was giving. Barry Bonds already picked as the MVP, and then over in the American League, John Olerud picked, obviously, the great year he's having. Cy Young, they're picking Jimmy Key. He's had a good year for the Yankees. Rich Amaral, Rookie of the Year for the Mariners, and Manager of the Year, Bucky Showalter.
USA Today.
But that's only a half year.
That's right.
Still got a whole half to go.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Renteria. In the dirt, 2-2. Mentioned we're headed home to play Atlanta after the game tomorrow afternoon, then the All-Star break. The Marlins will start after the All-Star break in Cincinnati. Renteria strikes out. Marlins have the lead 5-3. We'll have more after this from Miller Beer. To the bottom of the 6th we go. Charlie Hayes has singled and struck out. And a strike to Hayes. Hayes, who started the night with a .310 average, has it up to .312. 0-2. Hayes hits it down to Sheffield. He gobbles it up and throws on. Hayes is out 5-3. Gerald Clark is flied to right. He grounded out in the 4th, but picked up the RBI when Galarraga scored after he had tripled to lead off the 4th inning. Foul outside of 3rd. These Colorado Rockies batting .325 as a team in their last 5 games here. And that's coming into tonight. Swing and a miss, 0-2. Colorado has fared better in 1-run games than the Marlins. They are 10-9 in 1-run games, and the Marlins are 9-18.
And that's kind of interesting with the Rockies bullpen.
Yeah, it really is. Clark lines out to Destrade. 2 gone for Vinny Castilla. Castilla tonight has flied to left and doubled. to center field. Cotto coming over makes the play, and for the first time since the first inning, Hammond gets the Rockies 1-2-3. The Marlins lead 5-3. More than 50,000 are watching here at Mile High Stadium with you on Sunshine tonight. And this recap brought to you by your local Sherwin-Williams paint store. The pros know, ask Sherwin-Williams. Conine's 2 for 3 in the game. Conine with a 2-run homer in the second. Also with a home run tonight, Henry Cotto with a 2-run shot in the third. 5-9-0 for the Marlins, 3-7-1 for the Rockies. Here is Sheffield. 1 for 3. This fellow went into the final week of the season with a shot at the Triple Crown last year. Won the batting title. Had that injury, that finger injury that might have cost him the Triple Crown, but now in the Marlin uniform. The shortstop, Castilla, throws him out. Sheffield 1 for 4. Keeps that hitting streak going, 12 games. United Airlines and Sunshine want to put you in the air. 6 lucky people receive a round-trip tickets, courtesy of United Airlines. Thus, you'll receive hotel accommodations, chance to see the Marlins play. To enter, send your name, address, and telephone number, the address you see on the screen. Join us August the 11th here on our Marlins telecast to find out if you'll be flying the friendly skies to see the Marlins play. Orestes Destrade reached on an error and scored in the second, singled in the third, struck out in the fifth. And he and Mike Winters are having a little chat again. And they had some words after that strikeout when Destrade flipped his bat back in the fifth. 1 ball and 1 strike on Orestes.
Well, if you ever do upset those umpires, you better be up there hacking.
There's a strike on the outside corner. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And this is going to be taken out of the air by Eddie Benavides. 2 gone for Conine.
It really seems like that area around home plate is very hard. And even though that the grounds crew waters the field down before the game, that ball by Destrade clearly way up in the air, and Benavides comes in and makes the easy play on the first.
It is really hard down there around that plate, isn't it? Huh?
Yeah.
We've seen some high chops here tonight. Conine, another one for Benavides. And a high throw. The tag is made by Galarraga. And the Marlins are down 1-2-3. They lead it 5-3. Florida Marlins baseball from the Mile High Stadium in the Mile High city of Denver. Sunshine Network presenting the live coverage for you tonight across the Sunshine State. Schaefer homered back in the third inning, and he flied to center in the fourth. He leads it off in the bottom of the seventh inning, and we can expect a pinch hitter probably after him. There's a strike on the outside corner.
Well, Steve Reed has begun to throw down in the Rockies pen, and with Ruffin due up next, there's a look at Steve Reed. I got to believe that Don Baylor will go to his bench, and it looks like Eric Young.
That's who it is. Young is coming in. And they're doing some cheering here, trying to get a rally started. Marlins leading it 5-3. Up the middle, and it gets through on that hard infield, a leadoff single. That That's going to put the tying run at the plate.
And it's going to be Don Baylor's secret weapon now. Jim Tatum. Eric Young was pulled back, and just Schaefer finds a hole up the middle to start things off here in the bottom half of the 7th inning for the Rockies.
And Tatum got a pinch hit in the game last night, you'll remember.
Chris Carpenter has started to throw down in the Marlins pen. I really feel this is a very key inning for Chris Hammond, especially with the meat of the order coming up. Possibly this inning, but certainly next inning.
Tatum is 11 for 40 as a pinch hitter with 8 RBIs and a home run. Schaefer at first. Bottom of the 7th inning. Marlins leading by 2. Ruffin goes 4 2/3. He gave up 2 hits. He struck out 2. He walked 3. He hit it better. Gave up no runs.
Did a great job. Got a couple of double play balls.
To the right side, and look out. Whitmore coming on, missed the ball. He completely misjudged it. And now the runners are going to be at 2nd and 3rd. Whitmore broke back on the ball. Then he had to come hard, and he couldn't make the play out there.
Well, that's a big mistake on Darrell Whitmore's part. This ball clearly was not hit that hard, and he broke back on it. And then when he came in, it was a bit too late. He still had a chance, but he was about 3 or 4 inches short. And by the time that Henry Cotto got to it, Tatum was on 2nd and Schaefer on 3rd. And now Tatum's going to come off, and Eric Young is going to run for him.
So it is Young at 2nd, Schaefer at 3rd.
They're going to give him a 2-base hit, too.
They're going to give him a double. I'm not sure I agree with that. The rookie just completely misplayed that out there. You could see break back, and I saw that it was going to be very hard for him to get to the ball, but then he did hustle and get to it and couldn't make the play.
Yeah, well, he was hustling in, but right there it just gets by him. He's sliding, trying to make the sliding catch, but once it got by him, it was all over. And both runners get into scoring position now, and it's up to Freddie Benavides. And like I was saying, Jay, this is the inning that was going to make or break Chris Hammond.
Benavides has flied to center twice and lined to center. And the tying runs are on. And it's high, ball 1 to Benavides. That was Tatum's 4th double of the season a few moments ago. He has been very special as a pinch hitter. He's now 12 for 41. Right back through the box. And this game is going to be tied up at 5. You could see it coming, folks. Benavides with RBIs number 9 and 10 on the season. Here at Mile High.
Benavides just finds a hole, and Hammond just can't get a glove on it. And it does look like now Rene Lashman is going to go to his pen. It will be Chris Carpenter. And that's really a shame for Chris Hammond, who was staked to a 5-run lead early, and he couldn't hold on to it. And I guess his all-star nod might be in jeopardy now.
Well, I'm sure it might be. It's been a tough night for him. This game is tied 5-5, and we'll return right after this. Bottom of the 5th inning, and Colorado has tied it here at 5-5. Now for the relief pitcher stats, brought to you by Rolaids. Rolaids spells relief. Lee Smith, along with Myers of Chicago, leading the way over in the National League. Montgomery of Kansas City, Aguilera of Minnesota in the American League. Chris Carpenter is on. He has no record against Colorado. He has pitched in 3 games. He's not allowed an earned run in 11 of his last 12 outings. And he's held opponents to a 164 batting average over that stretch. He struck out 24 and walked 11. Hammond goes 6 innings. Gave up 10 hits. Struck out 2. Gave up the home run. Danny Schaefer.
And he also gave up 5 extra base hits, 1 home run, 3 doubles, and a triple, the one to Galarraga. And as it stands right now, that runner on first belongs to him. So he could possibly even end up losing this game.
And that is Benavides. He's there with no outs. 2 runs are already in to tie it. Here's Jones, who is 2 for 3. Swing and a miss by Jones, who grounded out in the first. Got an infield single in the third, doubled and picked up an RBI in the 5th. Don Zimmer coaching down at third. Old Popeye. On, and Gary, he's coming off a nice performance in Atlanta the other day.
He threw 3 innings, allowed just 2 hits, and struck out 4 in his last outing, and he has been really one of the stronger performers out of the pen. One of the reasons why Rene Lachemann is going to him.
Yeah, the bullpen has been in a bit of disarray of late. Visiting with Charlie Huff today, talking about the problems that Matt Turner has had. He seems to think that they're more technical than anything else.
He detected a flaw in his delivery right from the very beginning, and of course walked the first batter he faced on 4 pitches, and Charlie said, uh-oh, right from the get-go. So Matt Turner, I'm sure, will go to the school of Marcel Lachemann.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Chris Jones. Batting here, bottom of the 7th inning. The Rockies have tied it up at 5.
That was kind of interesting what Chris Jones did. Swung away on the first pitch, swung right through it. Then he showed bunt, and then he comes right back in the next pitch and swings right through it again. So he'll be up there hacking.
Puts this one on the upper deck, off to the right side. Last night, Marlins pitching, giving up 8 runs. Had a 5-0 lead after 2.5 innings here tonight. But we have a whole new ball game at 5-5. Another foul.
And with all that happening, it takes Keith Shepard now off the hook.
Don Baylor, the head man of the Rockies. One ball and 2 strikes. That just missed. 2-2.
Well, in Atlanta, Marcel Lachemann and Frank Rehberger and company, they were working with Chris Carpenter to cut down on his delivery to home plate, and they really felt like him doing this slide step didn't take any away from his velocity by any means. In fact, they really feel like it's made him a lot better, more consistent to the plate.
Carpenter steps off.
Because if you remember, at one point he had that very high leg kick and was very easy to steal off of. Now look how quick he is to the plate.
And a token toss over there to first.
Santiago started to point down there for some help from Mark Hirschbeck, but then realized that Chris Jones did hold up and just passed it over.
The runner goes, and a shot into right field, and it's handled out there by Whitmore. Comes up with that one after having a problem out there a short time ago. Chicago defeats Toronto 5-2. 16 hits for the White Sox. Baltimore 5-1 over Kansas City. They're in the 8th inning at Kansas City. Here is Dante Bichette. Grounded out, popped out, and struck out tonight. 0 for 3. Foul on a play off to the right side. Bichette has started 63 times in right field. He has been a very consistent performer this season for them here. Swing and a miss.
And he wasn't even one of the original draftees in the expansion draft. It was Kevin Reimer who they had drafted the Rockies and then traded him off to the Milwaukee Brewers and got this guy, and boy, he has been a prize catch for Don Baylor and company.
At Philadelphia, the Dodgers and the Phillies are going into extra innings, tied 5-5. Dykstra and Kruk have homered for Philadelphia in that game. He swings and misses. It gets by. Benavides goes down to second. Strikeout and a wild pitch.
And if you're wondering why Bichette didn't run on that pitch, when a base is occupied by a runner with the strikeout, you cannot advance, but the guy at first can. So Bichette will take his bat back to the dugout, and they'll leave it up to the big cat to try and drive that go-ahead run in.
Galarraga is 1 for 3. Grounded out in the second, tripled and scored in the fourth, grounded out in the fifth. Pittsburgh 5, Houston 2. They're in the seventh in the Dome. Wakefield is homered for Pittsburgh, and Wakefield is now out of the game. Wagner is on in relief. Foul back. Atlanta playing at St. Louis. The Cardinals lead 2-1. Rob Murphy in relief of Joe McGrain in the 8th inning, and they're in the 8th. The Cardinals lead it 2-1 over Atlanta. Here it is 5-5. Galarraga has averaged below the 400 line for the first time since early June. He's batting .398, 1 ball and 1 strike. Hitting .422 coming into tonight's game here at Mile High Stadium in the '93 season. Wide stance, Hit on the ground out to Renteria. Throws on. And after 7 innings of play here at Mile High Stadium in Denver, it's a 5-5 game. Out at second base now. Eric Young stays in the game. He'll bat in the number 9 spot as he ran for Tatum. And on the mound, Steve Reed, who will bat in the number 1 position. Reed 4-2, 5.40 ERA. He pitched an inning in the game here last night. Gave up a hit and a walk.
And I was talking to some of the Rockies personnel, and they were telling me that the demotions of Steve Reed and Darren Holmes were really probably a big plus for those 2 guys to go down and clear their heads a little bit and really regain some of their confidence. And Don Baylor has been very pleased with the work out of the pen from Steve Reed and from Darren Holmes. Jeff Parrott, who just walked by there, has become one of their starters then too. He was in the bullpen earlier.
Benito Santiago leading it off. Benito tonight has grounded out, was intentionally passed and doubled. One ball and 1 strike to Benny. On the left, Harvey. On the right, Richie Lewis. Fouled away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Santiago. Marlins had the 5-0 advantage after 2.5 innings of play. Had big opportunities in the 3rd remaining when Whitmore hit into a double play. Then they stranded 2 in the 4th. Stranded 2 more in the 5th when they had opportunities. And this Colorado bunch has battled back. Steve Reed from Los Angeles, California. 43 minor league saves in '92. He was the winner of the Rolaids Relief Award in the minor leagues. Lives in Lewiston, Idaho. Santiago goes down.
Steve Reed comes from down under and throws the slider to Santiago, and he swings right through it.
Whitmore is grounded out, hit into a double play, and was hit by a pitch in the 5th. Inside. 5-5 the score here. That's foul back. 1 ball and 1 strike. Whitmore is from Virginia. Played college football at the University of West Virginia. An outstanding defensive back there. One of the outstanding prospects in the Marlins organization. This is outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. And Steve Reed wants a new baseball. Ruffin did a fine job while he was in there. He got out of a couple of jams, but pitched very well.
He really did, and his effectiveness with to go along with his wildness seemed to be in his favor, but it seemed like the Marlins were swinging at a lot of bad pitches.
There's a final. San Francisco beats Montreal 5-3. Foul back on the play. Giants lose, but Atlanta is losing 2-1 in St. Louis right now. Here, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Whitmore bangs it into center field, and it is handled out there by Chris Jones. Whitmore hit that ball hard, and it just stayed up. And Jones, moving in, got to it. So Whitmore lines out to center. There are 2 gone for Walt Weiss. A final score on that Giants game. Did they win or lose? The Giants won 5-3. That's the final. 5-3, the Giants. And as I said, St. Louis is leading 2-1 over Atlanta in St. Louis. One ball the count to Walt Weiss. Steve Reed in the game following Shepard and Ruffin. Carpenter is out on deck. Weiss batting with 2 out here in the 8th inning. That's outside. Inside, and they're asking for the appeal to the third base umpire, Ed Montague, and he said no. And I think that was rather a feeble attempt at trying to get Weiss. 3 balls and 1 strike. Out into left. Gerald Clark makes the play. Marlins are down 1-2-3 after 7.5 innings. It's tied at 5. Here at Mile High Stadium, it's a 5-5 game in the out-of-town scoreboard. Brought to you by Gatorade for that deep down body thirst. San Diego over New York. Cincinnati over Chicago. We're going to check that San Francisco-Montreal score. We seem to have a problem with the ticker. We've got 2 different scores. LA and Philadelphia are in extra innings, tied at 5. Pittsburgh over Houston in the 8th inning. St. Louis leads Atlanta in the 8th, 2-1. Charlie Hayes at the plate. Hayes is singled, is struck out, he is grounded out. Bottom of the 8th inning here at Mile High Stadium. Strike on the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. Chris Carpenter out there. Comes in high and a little tight. 2 balls and 1 strike. Colonel Joe Klink, the left-hander, in the Marlin pen. These certainly have been interesting contests here. Last night, though, these Colorado Rockies jumped on the Marlins late. And tonight they've come back from being down 5-0. 3 balls and 1 strike to Hayes. A long one, and it is foul. Whew. Man, they hit some shots here, don't they?
That thing went up in the upper deck above the sky boxes. Way on up there.
This crowd just murmuring here.
Yeah. Oh, that ball went up around above Paul Smith's name.
Paul Smith, hole number 7.
Look at this. Boom.
Carpenter ready with another one. Foul to the right side. Well, here we are. After double checking and double checking, Montreal has defeated San Francisco 3-0.
There we go.
There we go. In search for truth.
We got it. We called directly.
So if the Cardinals beat Atlanta, there won't be any movement there, but if Atlanta would come back, they could pick up a little
Pick up a game.
Hayes is out. And here's Gerald Clark, who is flied to right. He grounded out, got an RBI in the 4th, and lined out to first in the 6th inning. Clark out of Crockett, Texas. And he's loved it out here. He's always been a kind of a fly ball hitter. He likes it here.
Oh, yeah. Well, who wouldn't like it here?
Coming into tonight's game, he'd hit .340 in his last 15 games. 1 strike to Gerald Clark. One ball and 1 strike. Two and 1. Looking ahead to the Marlin 9th, we'll have a pinch hitter. Cato, Renteria, and hopefully more.
I'll make a pitch right here. Come on, Chris.
Clark hits it into center field. Cato waiting. 2 gone. Gerald Clark has a brother, Phil, who plays for the Padres. At least at the moment, they haven't traded him.
You never know. It's coming up close that Fred McGriff might be gone. Of course, he's been in trade talks for the last 3-4 weeks.
Well, you know, and John Sherholtz said yesterday that he no longer has any interest.
Oh, he doesn't.
That's what he said yesterday, so watch out.
Yeah, when you hear those kind of statements, you know that the next thing he'll be there.
Vinny Castillo is 1 for 3 this evening. He is flied to left, doubled, flied to right. Strike. Castilla is from Mexico, 25 years old. Gary, this fella has impressed me. I think he plays a good shortstop, and he's aggressive at the plate. There's a strike on the outside corner, 1-2.
Well, I know he's impressed Don Baylor because he's won over the shortstop's job now with that injury to Freddie Benavides, and he has really done an admirable job. Only committed 6 errors in his play in the field, and has really done a good job with the stick. Hitting over 300, adding some home runs and RBIs.
Foul back. In the Colorado bullpen.
I think he's up just in case the Rockies take the lead here. Kind of the same thought that was going through Rene Lacheman's mind when he had Brian Harvey up, in case the Marlins would have scored in the top of the 8th. He wants to try and stop the bleeding. The Marlins have lost 4 in a row.
This one into right center. Cotto and Whitmore back there, and it is Cotto at the warning track. That ball went a long way. They're down 1-2-3. We'll return after this. Riley coming out. Pee Wee will be the pinch hitter for Rene Lachemann. These two clubs tied at 5. Riley last night in as a pinch hitter, 0 for 1. Riley on the year, 8 for 27.
Chris Carpenter with another good outing, Jay.
Yes,
2 innings pitched, didn't allow any hits. Struck out 1 and stopped the bleeding there in the 7th inning when the Rockies scored 2.
Riley takes a strike on the outside corner from Steve Reed. And there is Harvey again. Will it be Harvey time? We'll see. Riley jammed and fouls this one back. Reed is out in front 0-2.
Well, the Marlins were so close at one time to that magical 500 mark, and now going into tonight's game, 10 games below 500. And when you think about it, another game tomorrow against these same Rockies, and then 3 at home against the Bravos. And I'm sure Rene Lachemann would like to get things back on track again and finish off strong before the All-Star break.
This is popped up to the left side. Hayes and Castillo. It's Castillo to make the play. Well, this game, I think, they felt was very important. Important for Hammond and important for the club to stop the string. But here we are in a 5-5 game, 9th inning. 1 out, and Cotto comes to the plate. He has grounded out, hit a 2-run homer in the 3rd, singled, stole a base in the 4th, and hit into a double play in the 6th. Takes outside. Marlins have not had a hit in this game since the 5th inning. 1-1.
I think Henry Cotto was trying to hit one as far as Charlie Hayes on that swing.
Tried to bunt his way on. Not a bad idea, but it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Charlie Hayes was playing back, and that certainly would have caught them by surprise. Cotto with that good speed, all he needed to do was get it down, and he would have had a base hit.
Way wide. 2-2. Tomorrow, an afternoon game here. It'll come your way with a pregame show. Paul Kennedy at 4:30. Pat Rapp gets his first start as a Marlin. Kurt Leskanik goes for the Colorado Rockies. 3-2. Reed, who got the Marlins 1, 2, 3 in the 8th, has retired 4 in a row. Full count to Cotto. It up. Galarraga says he has it in foul territory. 2 gone.
You know, Jay, I don't see anybody else loosening up in the Marlins pen. Joe Klink was a little bit earlier, but I'm just wondering, because the last time that Brian Harvey threw was the first game in Atlanta, and he saved that game for Chris Hammond. I'm just wondering if maybe they're going to just run him out there to get some work in.
It's a strong possibility. I think you're right. Renteria singled, lined out, and struck out twice. Strike 1 to Rich. And he puts it into right. Bichette comes across and makes the play. Reed has retired 6 in a row. We go to the bottom of the ninth. It's 5-5. Well, the fans here at Mile High are singing we will rock you, and we will see about that as we go to the bottom of the ninth inning. And Brian Harvey is on. Gary, you called it. Harvey has not had any work of late. 1-1, the 1.50 ERA, and he is going to pitch here in the ninth.
Pretty phenomenal when you look at those numbers too. 36 innings pitched, only 5 walks. And look at the strikeouts, 45. So that's exactly what it is. Instead of coming in a save situation, maybe Renee Lastman would like Brian Harvey to, with the meat of the order coming up in the 10th, try and get through this inning and try and get him a win instead of a save.
Record of 1-0 with 19 saves and just 2 earned runs in his last 23 games. Schaefer leading it off. Eric Young is on deck. You'll remember Young came in to run for Tatum in the 7th inning and stayed in the game at second base.
And the pitcher is due up third this inning. Darren Holmes continues to loosen up in the Rockies pen, so we might see Don Baylor go to his bench again.
Fouled out of play off to the right side.
I think a lot of that's going to depend upon what these first 2 guys do. There's a look at Holmes.
Schaefer, who is at the plate, homered in the 3rd, flied to center in the 4th, singled and scored in that 7th inning. This fellow really has done an outstanding job taking over with the injury to Girardi. Weiss charges and makes the play, and a good scoop by Orestes to hold on to that ball at first base. Schaefer grounds out. 6-3.
Well, I tell you what, that ball just scoots. When you hit it on the ground in front of the plate, Walt Weiss had to get way over up the middle and then made the low throw, but Destrade with the great scoop at first base.
Here's Young. And Young hits it into center field. That's the winning run with 1 out.
Alex Cole had come out on deck, and now it's going to be Darrell Boston that's going to hit for Steve Reed.
Young came into tonight's game batting .254.
Eric Young just guessing right. First pitch fastball, and the ball was down, and he drills it into right center. Now the Rockies have something happening here in the bottom of the 9th. Young with some good speed, and Harvey not with a great move or as delivery to home plate. So look for Eric Young to possibly try and steal here.
Here's Darrell Boston, the 30-year-old veteran from Cincinnati, Ohio, batting .238. He is 10 for 4 as a pinch hitter. Throw over. Boston signed as a free agent in late December. Was originally picked for the White Sox. Runner goes. Santiago couldn't get the ball out of the glove.
And just like I called it, Harvey's delivery to home plate, Santiago tried to rush himself, and the head-first sliding Young, and look at the jump. What a great jump. It was almost going to be an impossibility to throw him out.
He leads the Rockies now with 23 stolen bases. Boston was 1 for 3 in the game last night. Played in left field, and now Santiago wants to talk things over with Brian Harvey.
There's some pitchers, and Chris Carpenter, remember we talked about earlier, likes to throw a lot. He was in a lot of ball games the last couple of years with the Cardinals. Now Brian Harvey, a relief specialist, good for 1, maybe 2 innings, but keep in mind he hadn't thrown in quite a few days and might be a little rusty out there. Sometimes just throwing on the side just doesn't cut it. And being in game competition, especially here with these high-flying Rockies, the way they're battling these Marlins.
Harvey last pitched on the 2nd.
Yeah, so when you look at that, you think about his 2-0 count right now against Boston and only walking 5 guys in those innings. And there it is.
2 balls and 1 strike to Boston.
Santiago probably detected something, and it was probably good to go out there and settle Brian Harvey down a little bit.
Young is the winning run at second base. 1 out, bottom of the 9th. Now Boston calls time.
Well, a little cat and mouse game. When you got a speedy runner in Eric Young at second base, it can really kind of distract a pitcher. Brian Harvey looking him back. Walt Weiss keeping him very close at second.
3-1. Boston signed on with the Mets in April of '90. With .275 with the Mets in '91. He has power at times. Here's the 3-1. High chop. Orestes Destrade goes to the bag. 2 gone as Eric Young goes over there to third. That's the winning run at third now with 2 outs. And Chris Jones will be at the plate. Jones tonight is 2 for 4.
Boston hits this forkball and pounds it into the ground, but because Destrade was playing way back and close to the line, he makes the play himself. But Young gets over to third base, and he's just 90 feet away from being the winning run.
Santiago again with a visit out to the mound. Jones grounded out in the first. Got an infield single in the third, doubled and got an RBI in the 5th, and flied to right in the 7th. Colorado tied this game with 2 runs on 3 hits in the 7th inning. Here's one deep in the hole. Weiss throws wide, and Colorado wins. It was a very tough play. Weiss was lucky to get to the ball. It's a hit for Chris Jones and his 2nd RBI of the night, and a 6-5 victory for the Colorado Rockies. Well, the Rockies have taken the first 2, and the Marlins, who led this game 5-0 after 2.5 innings, take another very tough 1-run loss. Brian Harvey headed away from this one. Colorado won it 6-12-1. Florida 5-9-0.